All right, guys, it's finally here. I've been waiting on this bow for a long time. This is the new 2020 PSE Carbon Stealth Mach 1. I've been waiting for what seems like forever. Before we get going, I'd like to tell everyone to subscribe to our channel, drop a comment, let us know how you feel, what you think, anything we can do better, anything's appreciated. So, let's check it out. First thing I want to do, I want to run through the specs of this bow. This bow is going to be 32 1/8 inches axle to axle. You're going to have a 6 1/8 inch brace height. You're going to have draw weights from 50, 60, 65, 70, and also 80 pounds. That is going to be special order. This bow is going to be 3.5 pounds at an IBO of 332 feet per second. I did run this bow through the chronograph and I was able to get 288 feet per second with a 450 grain arrow at 29 inches and 63.6 pounds. So it's gonna be great speeds out of this bow, as you can tell. This bow is gonna come in First Light Fusion, Kuyu Verde, Mossy Oak Country, and black. So you've got some color options, and I'm here to tell you that this carbon riser with this matte finish looks phenomenal. I love this matte finish on this bow. This is, I think, their best finish they've come out with. Personally, I'm a massive First Light fan, and this First Light Fusion on this bow looks phenomenal. So to kind of go through the changes they've made this year with this bow, they've actually swept the limbs back, which is made for a much smoother drawing bow and a much smoother shooting bow. I really like that they've made that adjustment. Roughly 64 pounds. Like I said, we're at 63.6 pounds in my last chance scale. It's made that feel much lighter than years past, and I think that's attributed to pulling kind of straighter. A lot of companies are going to that, like the Matthews VXR that we've reviewed before. We'll link that up here in the banner. They're going to that, and it makes the bow shoot, I think, much smoother and draw much smoother. So I really like that. They have also made the handle on this bow much thinner. Their handles in the past, I've never had an issue with them, but there's been a lot of people who did not like the wide grip on there. I personally, like I said, I didn't mind it, didn't have any issues with it, but there was a lot of gripes that I heard from a lot of people at archery shoots and hunting shops and archery shops. I heard a lot of people didn't like the grip. So they have made that adjustment, and I really like that. So the only other adjustment I've really seen that you pick up right away, they're cable splitters that are holding their live wire strings, which actually from the factory is a very good string. They're actually plastic now, as opposed to machined aluminum, which that doesn't make a difference to me. I don't really care. Plastic, or as long as they think it's good and it works just as good as aluminum, I'm good with it. Now on these bows that are not in the Dudley line, their cable splitters are not going to be drilled, so you can run your limb-driven rest cord through that cable splitter. That being said, I am going to drill mine out, or I'm going to ask PSE if I can swap that out. So that is the difference between this carbon and Dudley's line of carbon. The other changes to the bow, I don't really think they made many. They may have made the riser just a shade longer. Because of those limbs being swept back, they can make that riser longer and still keep that HCA at 32 inches. So they may have done that. Standard on the carbon bows, you're not going to get your drilled and tapped stabilizer bushing hole on the back. So that's never an issue to me because I like a very light bow, especially for Western elk hunting. I really like having a light bow, and I can pack it easily, throw it in my pack, no problem. And I don't like to lug around a heavy bow. So with this, that kind of, the carbon really helps with that. Usually fully loaded out with my sight, rest, one stabilizer, and my quiver, because I run all my bows with the quiver on, and a 5-arrow quiver with full arrow, all 5 arrows in it. I can usually run these carbon bows about 5.5 to 5.75 pounds, so that's a huge plus to me. So this bow is going to come in lighter than something like the VXR, like I reviewed before, or some of the aluminum bows, and that is a benefit of the carbon. They're going to have their standard Evolve cams on this bow, which these Evolve cams have been a huge hit in the past. They're super versatile. Like I said, this bow is going to run from 25 inches to 30.5 inches of draw length. So you've got a very wide range of draw lengths, and that's all done off one cam, which I've always loved. And it's incredible to me that PSE can still keep that consistency and that efficiency in that cam and still have a rotating module. I've always loved that. You know, there's been talk where cam specific bows are much more efficient, and PSEs have always seemed to carry that extremely well. You know, and for this bow at 63 pounds and a 450 grain arrow at 29 inches to shoot 288 feet per second on my chronograph is super impressive to me on a rotating module cam. This cam right now is going to be set up at 90% right out of the factory. So I won't shoot it at 90%, but I'll more than likely going to shoot it at 80% or get the 65 to 75% module. But overall, this bow is fantastic. It is very smooth. I think it's their smoothest bow to date. All their decals look great. The finish looks, like I said before, it looks awesome. I love that. Just everything that they've done with this bow I think is great. I love carbon bows. I think they have their place. They are going to be expensive. This bow is going to run, I believe, anywhere between $14.99 to $15.99 depending on what the shops sell it for. But so they are expensive. The market for carbon bows is relatively small, so a lot of shops don't stock them because of how much they do cost, and most of them are made to order. But if you're somebody who likes a light bow and likes to load their bow up and still save weight, even if you did want to put a side rod on, you can still run your sidebar mount up with your normal stabilizer mount and just run it off to the side. And it does allow you to add weight on the ends of your bars to stabilize out your bow and still not be heavy because the riser is so light. So at 3.5 pounds, I think it's the lightest bow on the market. I think maybe the only other lighter bow is the Bowtex carbon model, and I've shot that model, and I think the PSE's carbon model is a much nicer bow. So overall, if you're looking for a new bow and you're looking for a light bow, or you want to get in the market for a carbon bow, I think this new PSE 2020 Mach 1 is an awesome and a fantastic option, and I think you should get in your local shop and check it out. Thanks.